Welcome to Divine Earth School, the place where high achievers and spiritual seekers come to explore, express, and embody their divinity while I talk all things health, wellness, life, and spirituality. So let's dive in. Hello, 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 Mosaic Souls. Hey, Mosaic Souls, this is Rachel Alexander, and I am super excited to welcome you to this video and talking about how to operate from a higher vibrational frequency on a day-to-day basis. And what I really want to talk about is why this even matters. Why does raising your vibrational daily matter? Really, it comes down to having better energy, alignment with manifesting with ease, inner peace, and just feeling more fulfillment on a day-to-day basis rather than being in fight or flight or fight mode all the time. You have a calm sense of embodying and moving throughout the planet no matter what life circumstances are going on around you. So, for example, one of the things that we're not really taught, because I think most of us, not most humans on the planet at this point, especially if you live in the westernized society, are strictly sort of addicted to their phones, addicted to technology, and they don't feel a sense of calm, ease, or peace or joy throughout their day. And a lot of times that just has to do with some of the habits I'm going to talk about reversing in this video. And I used to do that too. And when I started incorporating these habits back into my day to day life a long time ago, I feel more peace, joy, and just a sense of well being on a day to day basis, no matter what life circumstances come my way, right? So let's talk about the first step, right? Which is to shift your focus. So, what you focus on, which we all know for those of you who are new to this channel, what you focus on expands. Your energy follows your attention. So, what you are focused on, what you're giving your attention to, actually expands into your reality. It's sort of, I can't remember the experiment, the scientific experiment, but it was like where these two scientists put like some balls of energy into like a vacuumed space or whatever, and they noticed that the when they didn't look at the energetic particle or whatever, let's say an atom, it didn't show up, but as soon as they looked at it and put their attention on it, the atom showed up, right? So it's like whatever you focus on, because we live in this holographic reality, it expands into your reality. So you want to make sure that you're focusing on things that you want more of in your reality rather than things that you don't want more of, right? So move from focusing on lack, fear, or negativity to abundance, love, and possibility, right? There are infinite possibilities. And it just takes us shifting our focus. Sorry, that's my neighbor's kid acting crazy. Who knows why they're screaming? But it just takes a shifting your focus on prime example. Something crazy going on, moving on. I'm not freaking out about it, that's life, right? Moving on. But shifting your focus from what you don't want to what you do want, focusing on more of what you want to expand into your life, right? We live on a fallen planet, and so what you focus on, if you focus on the chronic negativity that is inbuilt within this planet, you're going to get more of that. If you focus on more positivity, what you want, love, joy, abundance, well-being, that's what you're going to get more of, right? Another prime example I can give you, when that big thing happened in 2020 that we all know about, I didn't really experience it the way that other people experienced it. I literally stayed in my little bliss bubble because I chose not to participate in that reality. I chose to live in a reality where that didn't exist, where I didn't really have to worry about walking around with masks or all these other things that people were freaking out about, because I just knew who I was. I knew that even if it was something that, these humans created on the planet, that I could transcend it and move throughout life without worrying about fear about any of that, right? And I just chose to focus on what I wanted to expand, which is health, well-being for myself and my friends and my family, right? And so it's all about what you focus on. We have a tendency to, another little side point to this is, we have a tendency to focus in on the negativity and think that that's the way that we're going to get rid of it. Prime example, a lot of times we like to have a war on this, a war on cancer, fight for cancer, fight for this. Anytime you're fighting it against something, what you focus on expands. So when you're fighting against something, what the universe doesn't read against, it reads more of the thing that you're focused on, right? So if you're fighting against cancer, you're going to get more cancer. If you're fighting against this, you're going to get more this, right? So instead of fighting, you can move from a place of fighting to acceptance of what is, and then instead of fighting this thing that you don't want, you just shift your focus to more of what you do want, right? And so instead of saying going back to the example of cancer, fight cancer, I'm just going to say, I'm going to move into the version of me that's already well-being, move into the version of the person that I love who's already living in well-being. Say you have a loved one who has this thing, instead of, oh my god, we got to do this, we got to fight this, we got to do all this other stuff. No, I'm going to move into the energetic being. I can place my hands on this person and send healing energy. We have the power to shift our reality, because this reality is holographic, right? This is all made up. Even though it feels very dense and we haven't been programmed, we have to start shifting and practicing, focusing our attention on the things that we want more of, right? So how do you do this? Practical steps is start your day with gratitude and intention setting. How do you want your day to go? How do you want the flow of your day to go? What are you grateful for? Gratitude is one of the most powerful energies that you can feel, because it allows you to step fully into wholeness and well-being around whatever subject that you want to feel wholeness and well-being around, whether that's money, whether that's health, whether that's relationships. When you focus in on what you want and feel gratitude for it in advance, let's say something you want to manifest, let's say you want to manifest a new car or a new house, or manifest a new opportunity in your business or a new client or whatever, you shift to moving into, thank you, it feels so wonderful to have drive in my new car, whatever. Just move into the energetic frequency, the emotional frequency of having what you want, right? So that's the power of gratitude. Having gratitude in advance is even more powerful. So you can be grateful for what you already have, but even having gratitude in advance, that puts you in the state of programming your mind to recognize that, oh, she thinks that she already has a car, or he thinks that he already has that new business opportunity. So the mind has to start catching up and creating a new reality that reflects your energy that you're pulsating out into the world, right? The second step is be mindful of what you dwell on, your inner dialogue and external influences, right? Are you having negative self-talk all the time? Is your mind always focused on the negativity that's in the world? There's so much negativity in the world, but guess what? There's even more positivity in the world, right? Because we're humans and our mind is designed to protect us from the lions, tigers, and the bears, right? We have a tendency to focus on the negativity. But if you look into your day-to-day life, most of the time the plants, the energy, everything is really just living in harmony. It's usually just us humans acting like a plumb fool, but most of the time, even when you watch the news and stuff, you see all this horrible stuff happening. But like, even me living in the type of place that I live, where there's a lot of dark energy, most of the time, most of the people, like even in my neighborhood, are peaceful people, right? So most of the time, everyone wants love, joy, happiness, fulfillment, right? We all crave that, because we're all souls having this human experience, regardless if we're aware of it or not. So if we start to focus on the truth of who we are, which that we all derive from source, infinite intelligence, God, we all have that spark of positivity, and we focus on that expands more into our reality. So recognize your internal dialogue, and focusing on having positive self-talk, positive reinforcement, positive things that shift how you see the world, shift your worldview to one that I am fully supported in being who I am. I am fully supported in creating the life that I want. It is my birthright to live the life that I want. I am a divine creator. I am sovereign, right? Moving into that energy versus I'm a victim, life sucks, everyone around me sucks. Like, what energy do you want to live out on a day-to-day basis? Be cognizant of your mind and how your mind is playing old stories or old things that happen. Yes, we've all been traumatized. Raising my hand, we've all had traumatic experiences, right? But don't let those traumatic experiences define your future. Don't let those traumatic experiences define your present moment. You get to write the script of your life. You get to paint the canvas of your life, of what you want to play out in the rest of your life, right? And another step is use affirmations and mantras to shift your mental state. I love affirmations. I use them pretty much on a day-to-day basis, depending on what I'm shifting. If I'm shifting into I am love, I'm whole, I do not chase, I attract, whatever it is you're manifesting, you can create statements to help you move into the energy of what you desire. Another step is journal or reflect on the highest version of yourself daily. Who do you want to be? Who do you want to step into? What does this person or this new character of you embody? What are the habits, right? If you want to see yourself drop 10 pounds or 15 pounds, what are the habits that a person that version of you has, the one that's already 40 pounds lighter, right? Is this person eating certain types of food? Is this person getting up at a certain time a day? Is this person fasting throughout the day? Is this person moving their body? Is this person doing different things? What is this person? And start to shift one habit per month as you move into this new version of yourself. You can't continually be in a high vibrational frequency if you continue to do low vibrational things, right? Second step is implement new habits of consuming content and reprogramming your mind, body, and emotions, right? So your inputs shape your reality. Be intentional about what you consume. So reduce exposure to low vibe media, toxic conversations, and fear based narratives, right? So if you have friends who always like to talk about, hey, you know about blah, 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 you know that so and so did so and they did this to this person and this person, try to reduce those type of conversations because it's only going to perpetuate a narrative that you don't want to be living out, right? If you want to live in peace, love, joy, and harmony, have conversations about peace, love, joy, and harmony. I know it's very addictive, especially in this society where every movie on every sort of streaming platform is all about what so and so did to so and this drama and this negativity and this scandal, right? And what I've recognized actually within the past 6 months is I've dramatically reduced the amount of television and movies that I watch. A lot of times when I am watching movies, it's like some Disney type stuff. Like I think I watched Moana. Like that was the last movie I watched, Moana 2. Or things like I think Wicked or some things that have a positive message, right? I don't like watching things about the scandal and how this person cheated on this person and this person killed and stabbed this person in the back. Yeah, that exists, but guess what? So do the lilies of the field. They bloom every year, right? So do, innocent children and beautiful old people. And you know what I mean? Like every reality exists. So what are you going to focus on, right? Be intentional with how the media that you're consuming, the type of music that you're consuming. Are you consuming, music that has a negative message all the time, that always talks about the hardness, the harshness of life, of having to overcome this battle, right? Of having to get out of this? Is that the energy that you want to embody, experience on a day-to-day basis? If that's not, then shift the narrative, right? And, like listen, find other positive artists. I'm always finding new artists through just certain artists that I type in who talk about positive messages. I just found a new dude last night and he was talking about some positive, high vibrational stuff. And I was like, oh, okay, this is bad. This is good. It was a high vibrational song. So there's really good music out there. You just have to find these artists, right? I'm one if you want to check it out, rachalalexander.com. But shameless plug. But yeah, be intentional with the types of conversations that you're having and reduce the amount of toxic fear-based news and narratives that you consume and have on a day-to-day basis. So here's some practical steps to implement this second step. Listen to high frequency music like solfeggio frequencies, classical songs, healing sounds, or even like just high vibrational artists in whatever genre you like. There's pretty much almost at this point high vibrational artists in every genre, like from pop to rock to everything, but they talking about positive messages, right? Like not low vibrational things, right? If you're consuming music, read or listen to uplifting content, spiritual books, podcasts, guided meditations, things that uplift your spirit, that give you the possibilities of who you could be, of what you can create, of who you really are, of reminding yourself of the power that you are, of the powerful infinite being that we all are, right? Consume that type of content when you're listening to or watching movies or things of that nature. One of the good sites that I haven't really watched in a long time, but is Gaia.com. They have a lot of spiritual content. There's plenty of other spiritual teachers and spiritual channels on YouTube for free that you can watch content on as well. Practice emotional release techniques or EFT tapping or breath work or journaling. And EFT tapping is when you're like, I know that I am safe in this moment. And you're tapping the certain meridian points on your body as you're saying certain affirmations and releasing old energy, stuck energy, right? That's EFT tapping. Feel free to YouTube it if you want more in depth on that. And then reprogram subconscious beliefs with affirmations, hypnosis, or visualization. And that's repetition, repeating these stuff. Not just one day out of 365 days are you doing this stuff. You're doing this stuff as it's a new habit that you're forming, right? If you're constantly consuming negative stuff, you're going to constantly put that out. That's always going to be constantly running in the back of your mind. You have to create new habits, a new version of yourself that consumes and does these types of things to start moving in a higher vibrational frequency. You can't expect to consume the same old content, have the same old conversations, repeat the same old narratives, have the same old negative self-talk, and think that you're going to be in a high vibrational frequency. That's not how it works, right? You're the creator of your reality, so that means that what you consume, what you talk about, what you think, hear, speak, say, consume, listen to, all that plays into how your vibration is operating. What is your vibrational signature? What is your vibrational set point on a day-to-day basis? The more you focus on what you want, the more you're going to attract that. The more you consume high vibrational content, the more you're going to create more of that in your life, right? And then the third step is shift from a human perspective into a source perspective. Understand that you are more than just a body, you are an infinite divine being. Shift from a mindset of separation and struggle to one of unity and flow, right? So, everyone, just take a breath with me. If you're watching this, breathe in and breathe out. And let's do that 2 more times. Breathe in and breathe out. Breathe in through your nose and breathe out. Just doing that and calming your nervous system is a simple technique that you can do to ground yourself in this present moment anytime you're feeling overwhelmed. So shifting from a mindset of separation and struggle to one of unity and flow means that you're connected to a higher power. You're connected to source, infinite intelligence, the thing that hung the stars in the sky, that makes sure the sun rises and sets every day, that makes sure that you are able to breathe, right? You don't know how you breathe every day, yet you breathe. You don't know how your heart beats every day, yet your heart beats effortlessly. What is that what is that intelligence that allows that to go on without your help, right? Tap into that. That's who you truly are, right? And when you tap into that, you recognize that you're not disconnected from love, joy, peace, abundance, prosperity, and those things. You're actually are those things. And you only tap into that when you can breathe in, breathe out, and connect, quiet the mind, and tap into the source that you are. Every time I do that, I can feel my whole body just kind of like vibrating. Anyways, practical steps to do this. Meditate on your higher self and connection to your divinity, to the divine infinite being that you are. A lot of times when we're meditating, and this kind of takes practice. If you're new to meditation, I would say focus on the breath because it helps you to anchor into your body. But when you get to higher states of meditation, you can start focusing because you've practiced utilizing your mind and focusing your attention on certain things. Focus in on and contemplate, what does it mean to be divine? What does it mean to have connection to source? What does it mean to be a infinite being having this temporary human experience? What does that mean, right? And just contemplate that. Contemplate on your higher self. Contemplate on your divine gifts and how powerful you truly are, right? The power of healing yourself, the power of manifesting, what you desire, the power of attracting more of what you desire in your life. You have that power, right? And the second step is ask, how would my soul or higher self respond in this moment? Especially when it could be small. Start with small challenging events rather than big ones, because if you are coming out of a negative sort of response to life, you want to start with baby moments, right? Like the moments where someone cuts you off in the road or someone does something rude or something. Instead of reacting, how would my higher self or my soul respond to this life event, right? Start with the small things and then move that into the bigger things, right? As life continues to occur, right? And then another thing, reframe challenges as growth opportunities and lessons rather than, oh, life is happening to me, rather than life is happening for me. Reframe life is happening to me to life is happening for me. I get to create my reality. Challenges are growth opportunities and lessons. Setbacks, quote unquote setbacks, are also growth opportunities. Is how it allows me to pivot and refocus and shift my focus on more of what I do desire rather than less of what I don't, right? Embody trust in the universe rather than forcing outcomes. So this is sort of that power versus force energy of being magnetic versus consistently trying to make things happen, and there's nothing wrong with taking action, but I'm such a huge proponent of just taking action from a place of power, inspired action, and making sure that when you believe that the universe is a safe space, when you start to believe that the world I live in is a positive world. Everyone wants love, joy, and bliss around me. I am fully supported in being who I am. These are just sort of mantras and affirmations that you can say to yourself, right? Embodying trust in the universe. Can you trust the universe to be taken care of? Up until this point, let's say you've been backstabbed by 5 different people in your life, 10 different people, 4 of your friends died. I've had a lot of deaths in my life, right? 4 of your best friends died over the span of your life. Just horrible things have happened, right? Maybe you've been assaulted or you had to defend yourself in some way. You've just had a lot of crappy traumatic experiences, right? How can you shift those narratives from those experiences, heal that trauma, and move into I can trust the universe to fully support me? Because guess what? You still standing. You still here. Guess what? You're still breathing. You still got food in your fridge. You can still drive. You can still operate your limbs. Your body is still active, right? Some of your loved ones are still alive, right? Like what are the things that you can be grateful for? When you start focusing on that, then you can start shifting the narrative, even if all this crappy stuff happened in your past, right? So embody trust in the universe. Know that you are fully supported, you know? And so the fourth step is release attachments and move into knowing who you are and how powerful you are. Attachments to material things, people, and outcomes can lower your vibration. And what I mean by this is detachment doesn't mean that you don't care. It doesn't mean that you're not present for people. It doesn't mean that you don't show up or that you don't have connections with people. Detachment just means that you're not basing your sense of well being, your sense of I amness, your sense of I am whole, I am love, I am safe, I am, all those things, who you truly are. You're not basing the sense of who you truly are in outside circumstances, right? So attachment just means that you're releasing your attachment, saying, this person needs to show up in my life in this way in order for me to feel okay in life, right? That's what attachment is, right? So you're just releasing your attachment to that, and you can shift your perspectives and you can shift your expectations of people so much powerfully that people will start showing up in your life in a whole new way. That's how powerful you are, right? So attachment to material things, people, or outcomes can lower your vibration because you're needing, it's like this obsessive pet the puppy to death type energy, right? Instead of pet the puppy to death, you just let it go and say all is well. Everything that I want is flowing to me. The right people, the right energy will show up in my life in the right time that I need it, right? And as you focus on that, you start to attract more of that, right? True power comes from knowing that you are whole, complete, and divinely supported, right? Whether that support comes through your angels, your guides, your ancestors, or it comes in the form of human connection, right? It can come in many different ways, but you're not attached. You just know that you are fully supported, whole, and complete, right? Because you are a divine infinite being, a fractal of source, right? Practical steps to do this is let go of control and embrace surrender and flow. One of the things me and my really good friend were talking about last month, which we started to embody, is ease and flow. Ease and flow. That just was the new mantra for us. We just ease and flow. Things happen with ease and flow, and just divine synchronicity start happening. Certain people start showing up, certain opportunities, doors start opening, other doors that need to be closed, right? Like certain things, people start moving out your life, right? And this is another thing that to recognize, especially if you're embarking on a spiritual awakening or you just started to awaken. What can happen, especially as you're moving into this higher vibrational frequency, is certain people will start to move out of your life. Don't be afraid of that. Either they will start in your future, and it might take a while because you're still sort of setting your new vibrational set point. They might come back into your life in a higher vibrational state because they can't come into your energetic frequency when you're vibrating high on a low vibrational frequency. You see what I'm saying? So maybe they need to go away, and inevitably by you doing your work, you're pulsing out by higher vibrations. So they have to come back in your life in a higher vibrational frequency, or they don't come back at all, right? And that can happen too. But what happens is they're sort of not replaced, but other people start meeting you at the vibrational frequency that you're pulsing out, right? And you start meeting and having healthier conversations, healthier connections, right, moving forward, because you decided to shift your vibrational frequency, right? So you don't have to do this alone, but recognize that sometimes shedding, like thinking of a snake shedding its skin, sometimes shedding that old skin of that old narrative of the toxic content and conversations and media that you consume takes you shedding that skin. And that means that sometimes certain people who were in your life who kept perpetuating that narrative need to sort of die down in a sense, or be in a different frequency, and they don't show up in your life only until they can match your frequency. And you'll find that like even people who were super negative before and stuff like that, when you're with them for some reason they are super positive, or they're just neutral, right? They don't blab on about the negativity of life. They just tend to show up in a higher vibrational frequency because you're pulsing out high vibrations, right? So just wanted to put that caveat there. But back to the steps. Let go of control, embrace surrender and flow. Detach from needing external validation. Remind yourself, I am enough. I don't need other people to tell me that I'm divine, whole, and complete. Even if they don't know that they're divine, whole, and complete, I know that I'm divine, whole, and complete. I know that they're divine, whole, and complete, even if they don't know it. But I don't need to remind them. I don't need to convince anybody of their divinity. I can just embody the divinity that I am. And just by me embodying my divinity, inevitably other people have to rise to the occasion or remove themselves from your life, period. Practice daily self-love and self-trust rituals, right? Keep promises to yourself. If you say, I'm going to, treat myself to that blah blah blah, and I'm going to really take some time to journal this evening, turn your phone off. You know how many times I put my phone on airplane mode? People were like, I was calling you, and I'm like, I love you, but I was taking some time for myself because I really need to self-reflect. You can do that, right? To create space in your life to tune in and tap into yourself, right? So self-love and self-trust rituals, right? Keeping promises to yourself, right? Reflect on times you've manifested powerfully and trust your own magic. So one of the things that another friend slash teacher of mine gave me was she started a, what was it called? Magical synchronicities, a list of magical synchronicities. And I think I started that like a year ago. And I would start just writing down all the magical synchronicities or manifestations that I created in my life. And I'm like, oh, remember when that time that person just called you out of the blue, or all of a sudden you got this random gift or this large lump sum of money, or you manifested healing, or you healed this thing, or like this opportunity, your door opened. Like start writing down all the things that you've manifested that you wanted to manifest and focusing on that. And that helps you sort of grab from your gratitude. That can be your gratitude list if you want, but create a list of magical synchronicities or magical manifestations that you've created. It's magic, right? Because you're a divine creator and you're a magician, essentially, right? In this lifetime. And then the fifth step and final step is to eat high vibrational foods and do high vibrational things, right? So your body is a temple, and what you put in it affects your energetic field, right? It affects your mind, it affects your emotions, and we don't recognize how powerful what we consume and what we do affects how we feel. Everything is connected. You're not like life, it doesn't happen in silos. Everything affects one another, right? So high vibe foods includes fruits, fresh fruits and vegetables, whole foods, herbal teas, and organic options. Like things, one of the things I've been doing since the spring solstice is just, well, actually a little bit before the spring solstice, is just kind of doing high raw vegan living, right? Making sure that you're getting in enough fruits and vegetables. I'll link a video below where I talk about what that looks like, but it just means that you're consuming a lot of Earth's, divine Earth, nourishment for us, right? You're coming back to the earth, fresh fruits and vegetables. And once you do that, there is a detoxification period. I just want to put that out there. I've definitely been detoxing a lot. Just a lot of mucus and things have been coming out. I had a little bit of it felt like a virus for like a little day where I had the hot and cold sweats and I had to sleep under the covers and stuff like that. That's a natural part of detoxification. Definitely Google and look up the healing crisis, especially by Dr. Robert Morse. He breaks it down in his book, the Detox Miracle Source Book or something like that. It's a great resource to tap into, but understand that when you switch from one diet to another, your body does have to detox. And when you're eating more whole plant-based foods, especially in their raw state, the body has to expel any toxins in your body. And this is a good thing because what will happen afterwards, after your body continues to detoxify itself naturally, especially if you're using herbs like dandelion leaf or burdock root, or one of the things that I've been consuming was that detox tea by Yogi, the Yogi detox tea. You can find that in your local grocery store. So utilizing things like that helps you to feel better. And even when and I'm still detoxing, you can kind of hear I'm sort of nasally It's going to take a few weeks because, I haven't detoxed in a while. But just know that that's a part of it. And when you do that, afterwards, you feel so much more energetic. There's going to be highs and lows because you're going through the detox period. You might feel you're detoxing emotion, not just toxins, but you're also detoxing emotions. So be prepared for that as well. But the more high vibrational foods you eat on a day-to-day basis, and that becomes your new modus operandi, the less inflammation that you have in your body. And so when you're less inflamed, you can think clearer. You can make decisions from a place of power rather than from a place of victim mentality. You naturally raise your vibration because you're eating higher vibrational foods rather than dense energetic foods that weigh you down, that impact and impede your digestion system, which your digestion system is completely connected to your brain and your heart, right? And so recognizing the foods that you eat, one of the things I've just been noticing doing my daily exercises and stretches is I don't have no more pain. Like I used to have intense back pain because I had experienced two accidents like 2-3 years ago, right? Like back to back in the span of like 4 months of each other. And then I was going to the chiropractor for months after that because I had lower back pain because certain discs. But now, like I don't feel no pain. I'm sitting here doing back bends. I can do my splits easily. Like I don't really feel pain. And it's like, this is amazing. I love this detox, right? So it's like removing, even as slim as I am, there's still inflammation in my body that was causing pain in certain areas. So when you eat high vibrational foods, what happens is the body detoxifies itself, and the calcification of certain things, veins, and all that stuff start to clear up the passageways. What is it called? It's escaping me. The lymphatic system starts to move, your lymph starts to move, and all that stuff, all this stuck stagnant energy starts to move. And you want that flow, right? Going back to the flow and ease, right? You want that flow in your body. And when you have that flow in your body, you can have that flow in your emotions and your mind, and you can flow without feeling fear or letting fear take over you or letting any of that kind of take over you. Kind of flow with life and be easy with life, right? Another thing is high vibe activity. So movement, like I already talked about, dance, yoga, nature walks, all three things that I love to do on a weekly or if not day-to-day basis. Creative expression, art, music, poetry, writing, whatever things that you really love to do to help you unwind, gardening, right? Connecting with, your little ones or your pets or your animals, right? Like that's something that taps you into high vibrational frequency because they're naturally, like animals are naturally present because they don't have an overactive mind like us humans. So just tapping in and even petting your animal and being with them, they're naturally present and they're always naturally happy, right? That's a beautiful energy to share, right? Connecting with nature. I already said this, animals and soulful people. So people on a high vibrational frequency, people who are at least trying to make the effort to be better, right? Like no one's perfect. We're not all perfect, but try to align yourself with people who are at least trying and working on themselves and actively taking responsibility for their lives versus victim mentality or blaming other people or blaming the world for their problems, right? You want to align yourself with people who are taking 100% responsibility for their lives, right? So that is basically it. And detox from substances and habits that lower your vibration. And I kind of talked about all that in depth a little bit, right? And this extends to drugs and other things of that nature that, videos or movies or music and things of that nature that sort of lower your vibration. If you're always listening to, hustle hard, rap music or emo, what is it, kind of that death rock music type of stuff where you're talking about death and suicide and stuff, like that's kind of low vibe, you know what I mean? There's nothing wrong with death, we're all going to do it, but like how do you want to live your life, right? Kind of be cognizant of that and only consume that, right? So detox from substances and habits that, lower your vibration. And so let's just do a quick recap of the 5 major points, which is point number 1 is to shift your focus. And I gave you the steps to that. The second is implement new habits of consuming content and reprogramming your mind, body, emotions. The third step is shift from a human perspective into a source perspective. The fourth step is release attachments and move into knowing who you are and how powerful you are. And the fifth and final step is eat high vibrational foods and do high vibrational things, right? So I really want to encourage you to take action. If eating low vibrational foods is something that you want to shift out of, I definitely invite you to check out my Revitalized in 5 program, which walks you through the steps on how to eat higher vibrational foods. Whether you're a vegan or you still love to eat meat, it has options for both. But this is definitely just sort of a 5-day cleanse to help you reboot your system to start implementing a new habit. I've gotten great feedback off of the people who love it. Check it out at divineearthschool.com/revitalized. No. Yeah, I think it's revitalized. I'll link it up here and in the comments below. And also, I'd like to ask you, which of these practices are you most excited to try, right? Which of these practices are you most excited to implement into your life, right? And if you resonate with this video, please subscribe, like, and comment below. Let me know which of these activities you plan on trying more in your life, implementing more in your life for the weeks and months ahead to come. And feel free to check out my playlists on this channel. I have several playlists for those of you who are new to my channel. I have several playlists that go into health, that go into wellness, that go into spirituality and shifting your mindset. Lots of positive content on this channel for you to watch so you can level up your vibration and all that good stuff. And the last caveat that I wanted to share before we go is, oh, also, if you are looking to work with someone in a deeper way, definitely book a session with me at Divine Earth School / why am I forgetting all my links right now? It's not talk. I think it's / call, Divine Earth School / call, to see if working with me in a more in-depth way over periods of months is something that you want to do, or even just booking a session with me at Divine Earth School / align to book your alignment session. So those are the things that you can check out. Now, the last caveat that I wanted to share before I hop off is reality check, right? Life will still have challenges, but you'll handle them differently. I just wanted to put this caveat because I know people are like, so are you saying that you have to, being high vibe, that you're not going to experience challenges? Are you telling me to be toxic positivity? That is not what I'm talking about. I'm just talking about choosing to create the life that you want. Do you want to feel shitty every day? Nobody wants to walk around feeling crappy all the time, right? This is just steps that I've taken, that I've helped clients take to implement, and friends and family take to raise their vibration, right? So understand that life will still have challenges, but you will handle them differently. That's the difference, right? So what's the point of living high vibrationally is so that you can handle life's challenges in a different way. So raising your vibration doesn't mean that life becomes perfect, right? You're still human. In contrast, challenges, setbacks, unexpected events is a part of this experience, right? So don't think that, even though I'm saying all this stuff, that my life is perfect, right? That anyone, like any spiritual teacher who's talking about high vibrational stuff, no one's life is perfect, right? Like that's the game that we came to play on this planet, this 3D reality, right, with contrast. But we came here for the game of it, right? Like no one goes to a theme park thinking that they're going to ride the kiddie rides the whole time. No, we go on the big scary rides because it feels fun, right? On an energetic level, you're like, ooh, I want to ride this kid. Or if you love riding motorcycles or the four-wheelers or doing skydiving, why do we do these kind of dangerous things? Because there's a thrill in it. So if you think about it from that perspective, that life on planet Earth is truly a playground or a theme park or whatever you want to say it, you recognize that, yes, part of the theme park, part of this playground is the denser frequencies or the scary things, because that's what is sort of thrilling to us on a soul level, right? We wanted to come and explore these challenges and see if we can pick ourselves back up. We knew that we could pick ourselves back up, right? So I'm just here to remind you that you can always pick yourself back up, right? And that nothing can always only bring you down. And even when you go down, meaning, you transition from this life to the next, you're not, nothing can really deter, like, you won't break my soul. Your soul won't be broken, right? Like you're a divine infinite being, right? Also, you're not bypassing reality. Instead, you're shifting how you respond to it, right? So you're not saying, oh no, negative things, stay away from me, negativity, nothing, my life is great, my life is great, my life is great, while you're ignoring, the festering wound that's going on. No, you're tending to the festering wound, but you're like, all is well. I heal effortlessly. You're moving from a different place, right? So you're not bypassing reality. You're just responding to it from a place of love, joy, peace, and empowerment rather than fear, scarcity, lack, right? It's a different energy, right? Also, the difference is, instead of feeling overwhelmed, powerless, or stuck and in a victim mindset, you move through life with more ease, trust, and resilience, right? So that's the subtle difference. That's understanding how life works, really understanding that you're moving through life with more ease, trust, and resilience. So a practical example, when something difficult happens, instead of spiraling into self-doubt or fear, you now have tools like shifting your focus or emotional regulation and spiritual perspective that help you process and move forward faster rather than finding yourself in a mental prison over and over, an emotional prison of reliving out certain behaviors or energetic frequencies all the time. You now have tools that help you lift yourself up to a higher vibration and seeing from the perspective of your soul, right? One of the first things I said is, what does my soul or what is my higher self perspective on this? If that verbiage doesn't resonate with you, if you're more of a religious person, say, what is God's perspective on this? Whatever word resonates with you. Utilize the words that help you get to a high vibrational frequency, right? So it's just helping you process and move forward faster rather than getting stuck in certain experiences that you don't want to experience all the time. And so your power lies in how you navigate life's ups and downs. It's about mastering your energy so that challenges feel lighter and you don't stay stuck in lower frequencies for long, right? Yeah, we came to dip, right? But we didn't want to be in the valley the whole journey of our lives. You sort of just, you kind of get into a place of equanimity, you get into a place of peace, a place of peace beyond all understanding kind of energy. And yes, you experience joys and yes, you experience a little bit of lows, but most of the time you're just sort of in that peace frequency, right? You want to get to sort of that place, right? If that resonates, right? So that is it. As always, I want to say flow with what feels good and let go of what doesn't, because you are divine. You are a divine being and your soul knows what you've come to explore and experience. And as always, remember, what you conceive is what you'll receive, what you expect is what you'll get, and however you feel is what will become real for you. So vibrate higher, and I will chat with you guys next time. Peace, love, and light.